Are live. Me and Scott are here with you again after Scott has been off for 12 days. You said you had something to say, Scott. What do you want to
Yeah.
talk about?
Okay. So my wife and I went to Florida. My cousin has a comic shop down there. It's very small. He just opened it, but he has a booth in a antique store. And I was in the antique store and I bought this book. Can you see this? I can't see my thing here.
Robin Kane.
So this is like from the 40s, I believe. I think that's what I read. I thought I read somewhere in here it's 47 or something like. Anyway, it's old. But look at these illustrations.
Yeah, sweet. No, they look just like old clip art, don't they? Nice.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is, and I cannot. I mean, I looked for information about the artist online,
Uh huh.
and I couldn't find a lot. Apparently, her big thing was she illustrated this Robin Kane. The author's Eileen
Hmm.
Heel, but Robin Kane is like a girl detective kind of thing apparently.
Uh
And
huh.
there was a series of these stories, and the same lady, what's her name? Sylvia Hagender illustrated them, and I just
Uh
thought they
huh.
were. I mean, and I thought they were really good.
Uh huh.
I mean, they
Yeah,
they were very yeah.
nice and
Anyway,
clean.
and I couldn't find any. Yeah. Anyway, so this got me thinking about kind of classic illustration, buying this, and so um, and I've been experimenting with painting lately. Well, when I
Hmm.
was in school, we used gouache. Now you said you've never done gouache.
I never
You've
have.
never used gouache.
I watch
Well,
the guy that does what's Dino James Gurney. I love watching him paint
oh,
with
Yeah.
gouache.
Oh,
Yeah.
I need to watch some of those videos.
Oh yeah, that's
Anyway,
all.
we
That's all he
painted.
uses. Yeah.
Oh, I thought he did. Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so we came through Baton Rouge, and I stopped. There was an art supply store there, so I went and I got to talking to the girl, and I said, you guys carry gouache here? And she said, oh yeah, we got this set. She was like, this starter set is really good, and it is cyan, magenta, yellow, black, and white. So
Uh huh.
theoretically, you can get every color you need out of there.
Sure. Sounds
And
like
so
an
I picked this up.
RGB monitor or something. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so I picked that up, and it wasn't cheap, by the way. I paid too much. I found it online a lot cheaper, but she did give me it. She goes, "Oh, it's I think it was like $50," and I go, "Well, yeah." And she goes, we're gonna have a sale starting tomorrow, so I can give you 20% off of that." So I thought, well, okay. Um, Anyway, and you said you've never used, and so last night I finally broke it out and was messing with it. Now you said you've never used gouache.
Uh-uh. Nope. Because
Okay,
as I
so
understand it, it's like you can always go back in it and re-moisten it. But for some reason, I always thought that it sounded like too much trouble because I could pick it up again. That I would just have
oh
trouble
yeah.
and it would become muddy and all that.
Well, I've been messing with it. I mean, you can see some of my my spectacular. I mean, I just got a sheet of paper and was
Yeah, that's the way
messing
to
with it
do it.
last night.
Don't be precious when
Yeah.
you're learning something. Yeah.
No, no, no. And so I messed with it a little bit last night, and I'm gonna do some gouache today while we're talking because I did
Okay.
a drawing in my sketchbook. That's one thing. That's the one difference when it in watercolor is it's not as bad about buckling the paper because it doesn't have to be as wet.
Yeah.
In fact they have acrylic gouache that will dry hard. Believe it or
Oh,
not.
they do. They do. Huh.
Yeah,
Acrylic
or it'll
gouache.
dry. It'll dry waterproof. Yeah.
Huh.
Um,
I'm gonna
anyway, this
type
is
that
not. This
in
is
and
just.
look at that.
And
Acrylic
I use
gouache.
gouache in school, so I've got a whole draft of other gouaches, but I don't have enough to do a set. I do some black, and and I have a black, and I have a white, and I have some purple. I don't know where I got these. I mean, but I pulled them out of my art.
You found your
I got a
set, huh?
green. So, well, it's not a complete set, so I'm glad I bought it because I thought later, I thought, oh God, I think I got gouache from work, from school, maybe. But I mean, anyway, but these are very brilliant colors,
Mm-hmm.
and so I will,
You know what? These
use.
prices here on Amazon aren't too bad. 18.99 for 24 colors.
Yeah.
1.2 ounces,
Yeah, I
probably.
was gonna say you might look at the size,
Yeah,
but
the
this set I
size
bought,
for.
you can get. I think it's like $30 on Amazon. I
Mm.
think. So I mean, I overpaid, but you travel sometimes.
Oh well,
Anyway,
yeah. Let somebody
anyway,
make. Yeah,
yeah, and sometimes you should support art stores. I
yeah,
think.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, so today at lunchtime, I did a drawing a Wonder Woman that I'm gonna gouache
Let
and
me look.
maybe
Yep.
ink.
Hmm.
So we'll see where I get with this, if I get anywhere with this, or if I have to figure out how to tear a page out of my hardbound sketchbook. But I should
Well,
be able to.
yeah, the whole
Yeah.
thing is like, I mean, just being able to improv like Gurney does. He gets
Oh
that from
God.
years and years of knowing where
Yeah.
he's
Oh.
going just the moment he looks at something. Of course, he's usually doing studies. He's looking at right what he wants to do,
Yeah.
but he really goes off. Usually, he never he makes things way cooler or way hotter and
Oh really?
stuff like that. Yeah, it's quite a lesson in how much you
Oh.
can depart, and then at the end of it all, just have it look like a photograph. I mean, from a distance, it's pretty amazing.
Oh, these are hard. Some of these are rock hard.
Oh, yeah, they do that. Even in the tube, they say, "Time is passing. I will
Yeah.
solidify."
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is uh, that they can hard like in the palette they dried up. But if I had applied water, I could have used the ones I had last night.
Sure. Yeah,
So I think if I
supposedly
can get a I think if I can get the lid off of some of these, I'll probably be able to save them maybe.
it's like usually
But I can mix with
your
do
white
what?
touch up. Isn't your white touch up usually a gouache that you use for doing over ink drawings and stuff? You
Maybe
know.
there may be something to that. Yeah. The I can't get the lid back on. Uh, yeah. Forgot what I was gonna say. Oh well.
No,
I
go ahead.
can't get. I just cross thread. It's pissing me off.
Yo,
What
man,
I
I hate
did.
that.
I had a problem with something the other day. It was driving me crazy. Anyway, but yeah, like you said, my wife and I have been traveling, and we're obviously back. We
How
drove
was
to
it? I mean,
Florida.
pretty. Did you not have any major snafus?
Oh,
Did it
I
work
got a
all right?
snafu right there.
Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, you got it all over you. Yeah, that's
uh,
another thing that it takes a while to talk yourself into about painting. You're going to make a
oh
mess.
yeah.
I am such a mess with the oils. It's
Yeah.
it's totally disheartening sometimes what a mess I'll make with it.
I need to wash my hands. That's how bad I am right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Apparently, that tube is when I squeezed it, it's coming loose on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I cleaned acrylics in my upstairs bathroom. I cleaned out my palette, and I got
Uh-huh.
that acrylic down my sink, and I had to snake it because I
It
clogged up the
hardened.
sink.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
it wasn't that bad because it was just cleaning off the palette, but it still was like, ugh. So
Yep, you don't want
I
that.
was much more careful when I cleaned it the next time. Yeah, no, no, no. You don't want a plumbing problem because you're trying to make art.
Yep.
That's no good. Anyway, I'll have to search out the Gurney videos.
Oh yeah. Yeah, oh yeah. He's got a I'm surprised I haven't been reminded of him in quite a while. Usually the algorithm is aware you're a customer basically and lets you know that there's a new one.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I'm subscribed on my other identity. Maybe that's my problem. This
Maybe.
identity. Yeah.
I was a big Dino. What was it? Dino World?
Dinotopia. Dinotopia.
Dinotopia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got those books. In fact, I got the books, and then I read about him in some Illustrator magazine. Well, at work we used to get I don't know, some magazine that had artists in it, and of course this was in the '90s, so they were all traditional. And one of them was about him, and didn't have anything about Dinotopia, but he was doing National Geographic illustrations.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, the guy is. I don't think he does anything any more than what he feels like doing because I think
Oh God, yeah.
his YouTube channel's big enough and things
Oh,
like that. Oh yeah, and
oh
his publishing.
oh yeah, he probably makes a fortune off of Dinotopia stuff.
Oh yeah,
Didn't they do like some movies or a television series or
yeah. They
something?
had a series for a while. Yeah, yeah. He's one of
Hmm.
those guys that has caught the what do you call it the brass or the what's it the brass ring? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's trying to place the metal. Yeah, it's the brass ring. That's
yeah. Well,
that's so old. Unless they still do it. I mean, unless they still have carnivals where you try to reach out.
try to catch the
I,
get
I
the
don't.
brass
I
ring.
don't think they have. I don't think they allow people to lean out of anything and
No,
try to
yeah,
snag anything.
they don't encourage that behavior anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you, sit down.
Speak. Yeah. Speaking of that, I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed this movie too, even though I had one bitter disappointment from it. You know how much we enjoyed King Creole uh,
Yeah,
with
Elvis.
Elvis when we watched it all together for our little discussion group.
Yeah.
Well, I watched Roustabout, mindful of Tom Hanks was on some talk show, probably Carson or something like that, saying, "Man, we've got an evening." I tell you, I find out Roustabout's on. I pop the popcorn and we are ready. We're set for the evening.
Yeah.
He just had that big kid enthusiasm he has for. And I said, you know what? I haven't seen Roustabout since I was a kid. And but then the main thing I remember about it is the big fight scene when Elvis gets in a fight because this girl is being his girlfriend is being dropped into the tank, at the carnival,
Oh yeah.
where you throw the baseballs.
Yeah.
And and I got into that, but I also remember this scene where the Wall of Death, where they ride the motorcycle on the
Go
little
ride the motorcycle.
on the wall there. And there's this one scene where everybody in the theater laughed out loud because they used a blue screen or whatever of Elvis's head, just his upper body, like he's holding on to handlebars with that wall of death going on behind him, just ridiculously fast and all that. But his head was just totally static, just pinned up. The worst kind of special effects, to where you don't really believe it for even a second. But it was very laughable, and I wanted to see it again. I was really looking forward to it, and it's not in there. And I figure that scene,
it's not?
yeah, that scene must have been memory hold shortly after I saw it there. But just because of that, they obviously someone sent some sort of note or something else that, hey, everybody's laughing at this. Get this out of here, or whatever.
Did you see it like on a first run or something, or?
Well, yeah, I just saw it as a kid when they didn't really care when it was a mass release and they're making all their money and all that. I mean, it was.
But did you see it at the theater?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So yeah, somebody could have hey,
pass those notes down and saying, hey, Elvis is getting laughed at here. And I'm sure Elvis, if he heard it. Yeah. And what's funny about Roustabout is it is the purest one for the Colonel's contributions. He supposedly actually was a consultant on it because he told him a lot about the carnival.
Oh, about the circus or the carnival.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. He's an old
Makes
carny.
sense.
Yeah.
Did you see the Elvis movie with Tom Hanks?
I did not. Is that any good? Now he plays the Colonel.
Yeah,
That's right.
It's pretty good. Yeah, he plays the Colonel. Yeah, it's pretty good. But I mean, I'm a big Elvis fan.
Well, you know, and it's
for a
like
long time I would
go ahead.
For a long time I would play Elvis over my computer speakers on Friday mornings before everybody got there, and they'd usually come in to be playing Elvis. Anyway,
this isn't working out very well. I've got one of these pages of I sent for this blank comic book thing, and it'd be good for thumbnails. I was trying to go a little too spontaneously down to the page. I was getting some continuity going, but it's every page is the same layout, and it's front and back too, which surprised me. I thought they would save on a little ink there and give you a white page on the back. I think I'll just do some drawing.
Hang on,
Go
let
ahead.
me look at you.
Oh, you want to look?
One of those books what's on the front of that?
It's thick. I mean, it's got exactly what's on the inside of it. The pages as they look.
So the guy, my friend that works at the home for, I think I told you about this, the home for developmentally challenged adults, I think is what it's called.
You gave a talk, didn't you?
Well, I went and talked to that artist, but he drew comics in a book kind of like that.
Huh.
And dude, he would draw. Dude, he was adapted books of the Bible and stuff, and it has the panels laid out, right?
Right.
Yeah, he was just rolling with it. It's like, holy cow! And he did
yeah. I tell you what, when you come across a set of rules and you decide, okay, these are the rules, I will abide by them. You know.
Yep, that's exactly what he did.
Kind of speeds you up in a way.
Yeah, I mean it did with him for sure, but.
See what I can do with the
rules.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about that for the oil paints. If I come up with a rule for myself, sometimes I'll stick together with it, or be dumb enough not to come up with a rule for myself before I start. Sometimes it's like, don't do that. You got to know if you're going to, do a limited palette. Go in knowing what it is, etc. You don't just start winging it. Otherwise, you'll be disappointed.
Yep.
Have you, just curious, because I don't think we've ever talked about it. Have you ever watched Mad Men? Mad Men? It's been
no. Maybe a few episodes when it first came out, but not to any kind of length to speak of.
Okay, yeah, there's 7.
I know you've been watching them.
There's 7 whole seasons. Yeah, I'm toward the end of season 3 here. It's some of the best character. It also made me think, though, how dumb is it to get all involved in people's lives, imaginary people's lives, because that's what you're doing, with something like that.
Sure.
That's
all of entertainment, though, Ellis.
Yeah, it really is. It's like, why do these people? I open up the New York Post as a link, and it's like, am I the only one that hasn't ever paid attention to Kim Kardashian for 2 minutes? What is wrong with these people? They never forget. They have a daily press release on Kim Kardashian, and I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get that either. I don't care about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
In case you thought maybe I did. I
and she, and of course she's not imaginary, but
right.
Back to the imaginary stuff. It is kind of funny to, think how wrapped up we get into imaginary people's problems, which is what they are. They are uh,
Sure.
a constant set of problems, which means they are a constant series of conflicts. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, can't let them find this out about me.
Yeah. But I mean, I watched The Sopranos, same kind of thing. But
Oh yeah,
and I think that's why Dave is always amazed because he's like, I'll quit watching something pretty quick. It's like, well, if it bores me,
yeah,
I'll stop. I don't care.
yeah.
My time is more valuable than I'm through. I play Dungeons and Dragons with these guys for probably 5 years, and I'm probably through with it simply because they are moving to a Sunday schedule, and I'm like, it's not convenient for me. I'm not doing it.
Hmm,
You know.
hmm. Yep.
So
Well, if you miss it, you'll probably find some sort of substitute. I'm sure.
yeah, but I just I got I don't know. We went on vacation,
Uh huh.
and I didn't get a single email while we was gone, and I didn't get an email. I did not write an email while we were gone. I posted a few pictures online, but that was about it.
That's
And
the
I was
way to
like,
be. Yeah.
dude, yeah. It's like, you know, these people don't have a hold on my life, you know.
Hmm. Well, I don't imagine Barry sent this since it was addressed to me, but I guess because he shared it with me before in some other form, I guess he sent me the PDF of it that amounts to the finish of it. The Dave the Sims thing where he did
Oh yeah,
the strange
that's
case
weird.
of what's his name, Raymond.
Alex
Yeah,
Raymond. Yeah,
Alex Raymond. Yeah. Well, that was finished by somebody else. They
right.
extrapolated where they thought it ought to go because apparently
Well, I think
Sim
he
was
worked.
basically crippled. Basically, he had a
Right, he
carpal
had some kind
tunnel
of
so bad
yeah.
that it was a done deal with him. Well, now they've reignited the Kickstarter because this go around. Apparently, he's well enough that he's going to try to do his ending.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre.
Yeah, which who could resist if they really liked that the Raymond stuff? Who could resist seeing his ending for it? But I can resist it because I got to tell you, it was just a little too.
It was kind of a slog.
Yeah, it was a slog. That's a perfect word for it. I was trying for something else that was,
Nicer.
but yeah. Well, no, not really nicer, just not as descriptive as exactly what you're saying there. The problem with it is there may be a lot
Again,
of things that cause it to be a slog, but what we're trying to say here is it was a slog. Yeah,
I go back to, hey man, if it's boring, I'm out.
yeah,
I will not. You know, I don't need to prove anything. I don't need to.
yeah, yeah. Just because somebody comes along and it has an impressive book of what he has done in the past and all that, because he has free associated his way through hundreds of pages of something.
Yeah. Well,
No, you're
I
not.
was
You're not going to hang with him. He's
I
just
was never the
did
biggest Cerebus fan. I'll be honest with
exactly,
you.
exactly. Yeah.
you
No,
know,
I wasn't either.
and it's like, I mean, I know Barry really liked it, and I respect that, and I
Hmm.
and I can see why Barry liked it. But I have a couple of the volumes, or one or two of them. And it's just like, not my cup of tea.
He is a guy that loves the school of syndicated artists that went before. In another life, he obviously was made to be a syndicated adventure strip artist.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I read The Strange Death of Alex Raymond,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought it was okay, but it didn't. He went too far with it in too many he tried too hard to be from hell,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's just kind of this. Didn't At some point I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. I'm out.
Yeah. He's trying to give you these little insights into the fairly obscure characters that fairly often were just marginally connected in any way to what you were allegedly reading. Yeah,
Yeah. It's like, what does this person have to do with this?
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like,
oh well, it's
yeah. Well, the
just,
girl, the woman that wrote
oh God, what
"Gone
was
with the
it?
Wind," "Gone with the Wind."
Oh yeah, and I mean they were all related to Alex Raymond somehow because he
Yeah.
kind of got around in these circles, but
Mm-hmm.
it was like, I don't care about that.
Says why? Yep. Can't think of her name. She was just like
Margaret Mitchell. Margaret
that's
Mitchell.
right. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I years ago, obviously since I've been married for years, but years ago I dated a girl and she fancied herself as some kind of southern something or another, and she said, if you want to date me, if you want to understand me, you have to read Gone with the Wind. And I broke up with her instead.
It sounds like that guy in Diner telling his girlfriend she had to know a certain amount of stats, and I forget
In
what
baseball?
sport. See, it was baseball or something. I can't remember exactly
Baseball
what it
people
was.
love stats.
Yeah. But she
Yeah,
had to know this or that.
that was the other
Otherwise,
thing. When we were in, I didn't watch any of the bowl games. And it's like, yeah, there was an OU football game on, which I probably would have
huh?
watched had I been here. But I was like, I'm on vacation. I don't care. I was only concerned about what affected me. I mean, not trying to be. I mean, obviously, you don't want to live your life that way necessarily, but
No.
maybe. Ellis is like, don't you?
Don Draper would from Mad
Mad
Men.
Men.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I say that the guy, and again, ascribing someone's an imaginary guy, but they have constructed just a fascinating character out of Don Draper. It is something else. His brilliant ass chewings. That's the only thing. That's what you would get the most out of it. Is just the
Really?
the meetings that
God.
get called, where Draper has to watch the presentations that go on. And it's got some great bring down lines. Oh, it's what was? And I thought of this as just a story a guy could write just based on this one sentence. What do you want from me? Draper's saying that sort of thing all the time.
What do you want? I like that.
Yeah. What do you want from me? It is kind of existential kind of stuff on this.
You know what
Mad
I've
Men.
learned? You know what I've learned at work recently? Just in the last few weeks, months maybe. If someone is, because I get excuses about different things all the time, and if someone is giving you some excuse or why something happened or whatever, if you just kind of look at it and go, huh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
immediately they feel like they have to answer that.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Yeah.
I got a deal tomorrow. I got to deal with where a customer came in, and we've done this before her before, but she's a sculptor, and she wanted she did a sculpture for one of her clients of this guy's grandson, and she did it, and so she wants us to produce bronzes for her, two
Ooh.
bronzes
Yeah.
from her sculpture. Now we make the mold and we make the wax and we send it off to our foundry. We have a foundry that we work with. So we're
Hmm.
not actually making the bronze in-house.
Right.
But so, and it's probably going to cost
A lot. Yeah.
uh I think the total bill for the everything was going to be like $3,000, $3,500, something
Oh,
like that.
really?
I mean,
Really? How big
yeah,
is it? How big?
it's life size, but it's a little kid, so it's
Wow.
kid size life size.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
3K. That's
so
not bad. A guy could talk himself into
no,
that for a little vanity project. Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's what it is. It's some guy's grandson, and he wants a bronze of it for himself. I mean, I don't
Hmm.
know what she charged him to do it.
Hmm.
But it's a bronze for him and a bronze for the kid's mom. So yeah, you're right. It could be something that somebody could get talked into pretty easy
Yeah.
for that. For that much. I mean, if it,
Hmm.
even if it was
Three.
something you did for yourself, yeah, 3 grand
Yeah.
is. I mean, it's not nothing, but it's
I
not a
pa-
lot either.
I paid that for a one of those early Macs that had a black and white display. 3K that is about the
Yeah.
size of a index card on the display screen. You know.
Oh yeah. Yep. Like a Mac 2 or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Had one of those. I didn't. Well, I didn't have. I used one of those. I like those.
Yeah.
Those
They were
Macs I
fun.
liked. The black those. That was in
It had
'88.
to be 88. Yeah. Something like that.
That's what I learned. I did that. Did you have any programs for it? I mean, I assume you had programs, but
Just some little games and stuff, and a little art program that you
go through.
remember that comic book that came out that said, "Hey, we did this on the Mac." What was that called?
Oh,
I think
Shattered. Shattered.
Shattered. That's right. Oh my
Mike
God!
Sanchez.
Just think how crude that probably looks nowadays.
Oh gosh, yeah. I think I have a copy of it somewhere. The graphic novel. Uh, We had at the newspaper that I worked at. We had Cricket Draw. I think was the and so I learned to draw, and I think it was partially it's been so long I can't remember how it worked, but I think it was kind of a vectorish program even.
Huh?
You know.
Yeah. That back then it just seemed like everything was going to be uh, vectors if you wanted the file small enough to where you could move it around at all.
Transport it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I lament almost daily the because I went to school to do commercial art,
Hmm.
so and the field that I was going to go in, commercial art. I graduated from school in '89, and literally like before I graduated, it was obsolete.
Yeah. Oh,
Because
yeah.
it's like, oh, desktop publishing destroyed this all. You
Yeah.
know.
It's moving around really quick. Said Shadow ran from 1985 to 1988.
Wow. Who's the publisher?
There
Are
it
you
is.
looking? Did
I'm
somebody
looking
publish?
at a cover for it was First Comics,
Oh, okay.
Shatter comic number one. Let me see if I can get a good. Yeah, that's big enough. I'll share it.
I am shocked that more comics hadn't. Well, I guess they kind of are. I was gonna say comics hadn't gone that way, but I guess they kind of have.
Well,
But
yeah,
it,
everything gets sorted through the computer at this point.
yeah, but it still seems like there should have been a. Because I don't know. I guess everything gets drawn. The problem is or not the problem, but what's happened is the computer drawing has got too good at mimicking, so you don't really see it because you don't really see anything that looks like shattered. But we didn't really. There weren't really that many of that. And it did look bad, but I don't know.
As usual, I'm having a hard time doing the simplest of things.
What are you trying to do that you're having trouble with?
Oh, here we go. So your big trip that ultimately ended up in Florida, right?
Yep. Yep. The Christmas Day, we drove from Oklahoma City to Shreveport, and then the next day, the day after Christmas, we drove from there into Pensacola.
Pensacola, and that is still right on the border. I mean, you're just
Oh yeah,
practically
usually barely in Pensacola. In fact, one day we drove over
barely
to
in Florida.
Alabama to go to some beaches. And I don't know if you saw the pictures, but while we were there, I spent a good amount of time at my cousin's comic shop because I go to his shop. So he rented a shop or he rented a stall in like an antique mall.
Uh-huh.
And well, at one point, the storefront came open down the street, and so he is renting that now.
Hmm.
And so he's got the storefront and the stall still, because he said the stall brings him a lot of money. Not a lot of money, but he's like, I always wanted to own a comic shop, so I rented the place. When the place came open, I rented it out. But he didn't have a sign. And so, of course, me, I go in and I'm like, well, dude, here's what you need to do. And I start giving him I'm a, here, do this, 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 and this kind of guy. And so, so he, so he goes, I go, well, you need a sign.
Hmm.
And he
Oh
goes,
yeah.
well, he has a girl that's going to paint a big sign for him, but there's a pole that looks like an upside down L right in front of his store. And I said, well, what can you put on that? What can you put on that pole? And he goes, well, it's my pole. I can put anything I want to put on it. I go, you need a sign that says comics because it's perpendicular to the road.
Hmm.
The road is the same road that the antique store's on. And there's a lot of antique stores on this road. And at night, because in Pensacola, a lot of streets don't have street lights, and I think it's because of the hurricanes. So to kind of
Yeah.
minimize, the cost. So I said, what you need is a sign that says comics that you can hang on that pole. And he said, well, I got a sheet of plywood I could paint something on. He goes, are you good at painting lettering? I go, yeah, I'm not too bad. And so that's what we did is we painted him up a sign. I
Cool.
was at the shop a couple nights till about 10 o'clock at night. One night we got a piece of plywood and we painted. I painted. We turned sideways, so it was 8x4, I think, or 8x6, and we painted. I painted the word comics and toys on there, and on both sides, and it's yellow with black lettering, and he's got his storefront is purple with the green trim. It's kind of a yellowy green, and so he's got that, and he's going to he's going to frame it. I don't know if he's framed it when we were there, but he's going to hang it and put a light on it. I told him to go to Harbor Freight and buy one of those solar lights
Mm-hmm.
And I said, then, everybody can see it. So he's going to do that. I don't know if he's done it. I told him to send me a picture when he did it.
That's
But,
pretty cool.
Anyway, and one night, he was working on it, and Michelle and I sorted his Marvel comics. He wants his he's kind of a Philistine. He wants his comics sorted by these are Marvel, these are DC. I don't agree with that, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's his shop, so that's what we did.
How
And
would you?
they weren't sorted. They weren't sorted. They were he had bought comics, and they're just kind of all shoved in boxes.
Mm-hmm.
How would I sort them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I am strictly alphabetical.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Be a library system if you're gonna present something to people. Yeah. Sure.
Well, because then you can find them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would, and he's like, well, what about X-Men? X-Men. I mean, in my mind, there's no question. You just do it alphabetical, and then, if someone's looking, I mean, because that's what people are going to look for anyway.
Yeah. Sure.
They're not going to be, oh, it's whatever.
Mm-hmm. They're going to come in with the maybe some bias on wanting DC or Marvel, but
yeah, but if you mix them up, at least if it's alphabetical, they can find what they want, and they may come across something that they didn't know they wanted, but that you had.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but he wants to split them, so it's his shop, so he's splitting them. And anyway, that's one thing that we did on vacation. Yeah, and really, I just went to get away. We both my wife and I had to burn a little vacation before the end of the year,
mm-hmm.
and we rented a car. We drove down, and I think we both had a ball.
Very good. No, that's the way to do it, man. I could use a getaway probably, but I'd have to do some logistics to get it done.
Yeah, I mean it was fun, but I mean, we bought so much stuff. We just kind of went. Michelle bought this piece of glass art that she had seen when we were down there in the spring at this flea market place, and so she bought that was like $75,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't buy it before because we were flying. Well, this time we weren't flying, so she was like, "Oh, I'm going to get that." I'm like, "Hey, we're not flying. Why not?"
Mm-hmm.
It didn't even bleed through, man.
That stuff looks pretty amazing. I like how you're doing that. It's like now, how easy is it going to be when it's dry to put a bunch of highlights on that skin if you want to do it? If you want to do that,
should be pretty easy. You can see I got a marker.
This is going to turn you into Sinchevich. You're going to become the media guy here.
The media guy. Yeah,
I tell you what. When you look at Sinchevich, one thing you're seeing is a guy that is totally unafraid that he can't fix anything that he does, that he lays down. And that sort of confidence in your materials it's good to develop. If you think of any material you're really good at, it's like you're hardly even thinking of it. I was thinking about some of this artwork you saw in the early days of the golden era and stuff like that. You got to know those guys were just barely even thinking about what was going on the page other than just a quick shorthand version of a human figure. I was looking at some of that early Simon Kirby stuff. Simon himself was just really great with gesture and energy in his poses, but he just never did anatomy or anything like that. He didn't let anything like that slow him down. And Kirby, when he was early on collaborating with him, you could tell he his ambition was to let's get a little anatomy in these guys,
Yeah.
And he was overdoing it. And it's kind of weird to see Kirby kind of merge toward Simon in terms of like, yeah, I need to be a little more energetic, a little more loose. And it's very obviously there. They influenced each other a lot. Well, mainly Kirby got picked up on some stuff that was just laying there for him to be influenced by. But then obviously, it becomes all Kirby, in terms of like how he did it.
So I don't know if you've seen this or not, but it's interesting because I was reading this last night. It's interesting. It's called the Complete Jack Kirby Volume 1.
Wow.
And this was put up by Pure Imagination. This came out in, I think, the 90s. And I got the first 2 issues. And I don't know if there was ever any more. And 97 by Pure Imagination. So it's Greg Theakston. And it is, and so like the first one is 1917 to 1940.
Wow.
And it's got all this old
cowboy stuff.
Now, one of the bad things is it doesn't have any Marvel. It's all public domain stuff.
Yeah.
But so you miss out on, Captain America, obviously. But it's annotated, and then this one is 40 to 41. And like I said, so I was looking at this last night, and it's just all these. But I mean, it's just this crazy, And then he did. I didn't realize he did Captain Marvel, but I mean, look at that. It's a completely different style. Yeah, and there's a lot of, because I think all that old Captain Marvel stuff is public domain. Because I've got a trade that I bought of Captain Marvel. Oh, what's the name of that? Anyway, it's Captain Marvel. He fought somebody like the Masters of Evil, and it's considered like the first crossover or first arc in comics or something. It's like 12 issues, and it's all, but it's black and white. And then I got this. Well, I've had this for a while. Jack Kirby Treasury. Back in the 90s, I was buying everything I come across. And you were finding all this stuff in people's back issues. This is kind of an overview of early Kirby, but it's got all kinds of stuff. I mean, look at that, man.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. It's really cool.
And so then, but one of my favorite things I have is this Stuntman book. I got this at OFCON a couple of years ago, maybe last year. And and Stuntman was a circus guy that was this, and this was in 50s, Simon and Kirby. Mm-hmm. And what I like about this, because I have that Fighting American trade that covers all that, which is cool, but I like this because I can open it up and kind of look at it. Trades are kind of hard to copy, but for a while I was copying some of this stuff in my sketchbook. Who paints a skull and crossbones on their roadster? That picture right there is so cool. Anyway, so it's interesting you talk about early Kirby.
Yeah, I think about those guys earning their living back then.
Oh, yeah.
Saying, what was that book that guy did of the early Marvel? I don't even know what that book was about. Come to think of it, I really like the guy's writing style. I want to say Cagney and Lacey. I don't know what I'm thinking of.
Cavalier and Clay.
Yeah, Cavalier and yeah.
I've never read that book.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to remember what that was about. I read it and loved it so much. So I read his second big book where we apparently talked all the Jews to give up Israel and move to Alaska. and it was just a murder mystery, basically. But the alternate universe was all the Jews were in Alaska, which was kind of a fascinating kind of like leap to have us go along with, you know.
Yeah, I would say so. I'm not sure they'd
Yeah, I
go
mean,
for that.
yeah, exactly. But for some reason, it was just something he wanted to explore.
Yeah, he's written a lot of stuff. Michael
Yeah,
Chabon.
yeah,
He did a they did a it wasn't somebody, Dark Horse or somebody, did an anthology series that was based off of not Cavalier and Clay, but the series they created. I forget the name of it. In
Oh,
that book about the comics, not Stuntman, but it was something like Stuntman.
it's kind of weird. That book, Cavalier and Clay, starts. It sets the scene that they are in the process of transporting the golem. So that becomes your universe, that these guys are going to be headed for America, and they're in a situation where the golem is being transported with them, and that's the last you hear
Oh,
about it.
really?
Yeah, it's like, what do you
Wait, where'd the golem go?
exactly? What are you bringing this up? Haven't you ever heard that rule? If you show a gun, you have to use it by the third act. You know, I mean, it's like you can't do that. Something like the you know. You can tell I've been 2 weeks without having a whole lot of sentence forming. I guess I don't know.
Did you not record? You didn't
No,
talk last. Oh, well.
I do need to start though. I'm watching regularly. Doug do stuff, and he's tearing it up. I tell you, he must do about 4 edited things a day anymore. Little short subjects.
Nothing's stopping you, dude.
No, I know it. No. What's stopping me is this stupid addiction to turning on the internet and then doing nothing else other than surfing all day long. It's really
yeah. God,
it's impossible to think how wasteful I spend my days. You know, it really is. Nothing. I repeat. I go through about 6 or 7 websites, and then I start from the top and go through them again. It's insane. It's insane. My brain should be entirely dead by now.
You will be if you keep it up.
I know it. No, I've got to break the pattern.
I'll pray for you.
Thank you.
Well, if I knew, I'm possibly planning on going downtown tomorrow to invite you to go with me, if you wanted to break the cycle, but I don't know exactly what time I'll be down there.
No, it's all right. I'm you know what happened to me last night, and I'm going to return it tomorrow at Walmart. I got some food poisoning I had to deal with.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, when I woke up this morning, I knew I wasn't feeling quite right, but I went through a nice, evening of sleep and all that. Seemed all right. But then I woke up and I opened my eyes and I said, what is going on? I had the spins. Everything was spinning.
Oh my gosh.
Like I was drunk or something. And it took me forever to get the spins to stop.
Oh my gosh.
And I realized that I've had something like that before, and it involved, getting a little bit of food poisoning. And it's this fried rice, it's
oh yeah, I'm a steamed rice guy.
Yeah, shrimp fried rice, frozen food.
Oh,
that I guess it was just and then I looked up the exact brand and all that, and I thought, look, it is being recalled or whatever. And so I found all the details, and I said, look at that. I can't believe it. I found it just by looking. And then I realized the date on it was 2016. So in other words, it's happened before.
Oh,
I've got to go to these people at Walmart tomorrow. For one thing, get my money back. The stuff is kind of it's not cheap. I'll get $10 back returning it, and then I've got to tell them, hey, you may get some future complaints on this stuff. You better check
yeah.
into
Well,
this.
somebody has to be the first one to complain about stuff like that.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
I don't know
And
if my Wonder was coming out like I wanted her, but oh well.
well, no, I'm impressed by how that seems to be laying down, and you're already on top of it with inks, huh? How about that?
Yeah, from
So
a pen,
it just
not
takes the
even a
ink
not even.
right on top of it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think it's bled a little bit, maybe, but not much that I
Okay,
can
very
tell.
cool, man.
So I
And
mean, yeah,
is that the acrylic gouache?
no, it's just the straight up gouache.
Gouache. That's pretty cool. That worked very well.
Yeah, I mean, the potential's definitely here.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm messing with this, obviously. Now watch, I'll close my book and it'll bleed in
No,
my
well, no,
book.
you can tell if it's dry or not. Now it may be just have enough tack to it that it does stick to the other page.
That's okay. There's
You
nothing.
could put a nice little slick piece of some of that canvas paper that you know,
Yeah,
or palette paper rather.
yeah, or wax paper or
Yeah, wax
typing
paper.
paper,
That's
something. Yeah, I can do something if I was super worried about it, which I am not.
we are not. Okay.
Nah, I don't worry about this stuff like that. I mean, it's a sketchbook. It's supposed to be, sketchy.
Boy, I tell you what, the those old Linda Carter things are just, they're so great for her little moments as, showing off her incredible looks, you know, in
Oh yeah,
the skimpy contest. You could say basically it is TNA is the big appeal of that because the stories, it's just really they're dumb stuff, but it's just makes it all worthwhile when she's in not just her little outfit. It's when she's in other kind of little outfits too. While she's running around in civilian life.
yeah.
She was just.
Oh yeah, they always got her in some kind of little thing.
Mhm.
Yep,
But
they were
that
consistent
goes
the whole
back to
time.
that Don Draper thing. There's certain
Yeah.
people that poor old anybody that's around. They basically drag Don Draper to bars so that the women are just automatically flocking over. And
Oh yeah.
I've known guys like that you might as well be invisible when you're around them in terms of like seeing girls react to them.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I worked with this one guy in the elevator trade, and of course this had never happened to me, but I could tell,
Yeah.
man, it was like women. It's just like their heads all of a sudden became like
Swivel.
yeah, swiveling toward him, and everything like that. They just couldn't take their eyes off of him. And it just amazed me. It's like, what would life have been like if you had
To
looked
be like
even,
that.
yeah, to be like that, where women just, and not only that, but your own self realizes that you're aware of the thing. But of course, I guess you have to semi develop magnetism. It's probably a given early on that, obviously some children are doted on more, if you display a little of this or that, a little extra personality, you're going to be the favored kid. But
Yeah. I think I think that's probably true.
and
I think by adulthood, people people know, like, hey,
Yeah, who's who. And yeah, that's the
yeah,
deal. But the deal is the Draper character had to create himself. And there's still a little blank. We've been shown enough that we know who he is and how he came to be, kinda. But there's a little bit of mentoring that has to have taken place to have turned him into Don Draper. And so, but I've got four seasons left that they can get around to telling me how that came about. If they
yeah.
decide to,
Well,
sometimes the smartest thing
so
to do is like, hey, figure it out yourself. Make up your own story.
yeah,
Making up
yeah,
your own story is a very strong element of appealing fiction. Sometimes it's like, don't tell anybody that. They'll figure it out.
yeah.
Or,
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's people don't necessarily want to be told everything.
yeah, just give them 1 and 2, and or 2 and 2. Let them make the 4. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, we've been at it an hour. And I
Yeah.
apologize to anybody that shows up and listens to me mangle my
The English language.
the English language. I got to tell you, wasn't too
Yeah.
hot tonight.
Yeah, that's okay. Sorry that.
But I did
Thanks
what.
to everybody that came
Yeah,
after us being gone for so long.
yeah.
You know. Watch this afterwards or whatever. Maybe they thought we were permanently off the planet, but we were not. We were.
That's the yeah. You're right. I need to feed it. I need to do just for practice. I need to start making a couple little things.
Yeah. Why not, man?
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of mentor, you got a guy that's willing to mentor you, don't you?
Yeah. Sure.
So why not, man? Why not take advantage of that?
Yeah.
So hey,
Well,
Doug,
part of the way he's doing it though is as many opinions as I might have about politics, I just wouldn't want to.
put him out there.
As he says, I wouldn't want to mess with the algorithm on, having that clickbait kind of stuff going on that much, really.
No, well, it's a choice. I mean,
Yeah, it is. It is a choice if you want to try to develop it.
anyway, well, there's my Wonder Woman for better or worse.
I tell you what, I can't believe how controlled you are with those gouaches. So I've got to try them.
Well, don't go to the art supply place and spend $50 on the whole bean. You can get these for either 20 or $30 on Amazon. If that's what you want to do, but you can get cheaper stuff out there. One of the girls at work was telling me there's some Chinese brand that everybody on Instagram uses that she said they're cheap, but everybody likes them. These are pretty. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I was pretty happy with these.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, you ready to sign off here?
Yep. We can sign off.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Anybody that shows up for this. Okay.